The girl was finally accepted into the swim team thanks to her mother's efforts, but the coach assigned her to tend the boiler. Even her teammates teased her, calling her Boiler Girl. When the coach noticed this, he also suggested she quit. Unwilling to give up, Chu-Dee retorted, "You won't even let me into the pool." Perhaps moved by the determination in Chu-Dee's eyes, the coach announced a new rule to everyone. From now on, the person who comes last in each day's race would be responsible for tending the boiler. Chu-Dee was thrilled, even though she still fell behind due to unfamiliar swimming techniques, and even though she was exhausted from stoking the boiler, she remained full of drive. Seeing her train so hard, the coach adjusted his approach. He used the rhythm of his right hand slapping against the vibrating iron lid to help Chu-Dee, who had poor hearing, adapt to the new tempo. Finally, during a team race that day, she overtook one opponent. It was Chu-Dee's first small victory, but she didn't slack off. She continued practicing in the sea, but when she glanced back, she saw her sister on the shore standing next to Boy. Chu-Dee said nothing, simply turned and kept swimming further into the ocean. One day, while they were watching a movie, a teammate brought exciting news. For the very first time, they would be competing against the Australian team. Meg, the star swimmer, was the team's great hope, while Chu-Dee was seen as just making up the numbers. Right at the start of the race, Chu-Dee slipped. Without the boost from the dive, she fell far behind. Halfway through the first lap, Meg maintained her lead. The coach's eyes were fixed on her, and the entire audience's attention was on this star athlete. Only her mother saw Chu-Dee. At some point in the pool, she seemed to rediscover the feeling of swimming against the ocean current and began gradually passing the swimmers around her. Just before touching the wall on the final lap, she actually caught up to Meg. This astonishing performance left the whole crowd in disbelief. The coach, too, was stunned by her speed and shouted instructions from the sidelines, but his voice was drowned out by the roaring cheers. Everyone was awaiting the final outcome, but Chu-Dee, undistracted, stayed immersed in her own rhythm. This was the American women's swim team's first competition, yet they clinched victory in an international event. Yet the next day's newspaper headlines focused only on the Australian team's strap swimsuits. The report on Chu-Dee's win was tucked away in a corner of the paper, but that couldn't stop her relentless momentum. She began competing more and more often, winning more trophies and setting more records. Even so, her father still paid no attention. He casually tossed her medals into a drawer. In those times, her identity as a woman still overshadowed her identity as an athlete. He was only worried his daughter wouldn't find a husband. One day, a car stopped in front of the butcher shop. The visitor claimed to be a member of the American Olympic Committee and invited Chu-Dee to Paris to compete in the first officially sanctioned women's event in the 28 years since the Olympics were founded. Unfortunately, spots were limited, and her sister Meg was not selected. That evening, Meg returned home from a date to find her parents waiting for her at the door. Her father interrogated her about her wealthy date and demanded she give up her unrealistic fantasies and comply with an arranged marriage to someone of their social standing. But Meg refused to listen. Chu-Dee followed her sister out of the house, hoping to persuade her to join in lobbying